I'm your number one fan.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
What an excellent day for an exorcism.
My mom and dad are gonna be...
I see dead people.
Hello.
Hi.
So we were both waiting for the other person to start.
Oh no, I was making faces, letting you know that it was your turn to start.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
We've never really taken turns, so
No, it's always been me.
Yeah, it's usually you, which is why I was like, oh, I'll wait. But your
I was
face
giving
said,
you a cue.
No, you go. Yeah, it was vaguely threatening, but also sexy. So
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to Killer Cuties Podcast.
That's us.
Can I tell a little fun fact about us?
Yep. I don't know, actually.
It's not about us as people, more about the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
We use a company called Riverside to do our podcast editing, and they have automatic transcripts that come through, and not once since we started using them have they ever gotten Killer Cuties Podcast correctly.
What do they say?
It's always something different, like QTs, queefies, or something. It's literally just whatever other sounding word you can think of. That's what it is instead of cuties. It's never cuties.
I love that.
I know. I think it's fun. I should make a little compilation of them all.
Yeah. It's actually Friday.
It is Friday.
At 1:00 in the afternoon. But happy Halloween Horror Nights opening night.
It is opening nights.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Mm-hmm. I've seen lots of already on TikTok spoiler-free reviews of some of the big mazes for this year. I'm excited.
That's exciting.
We'll be there in 2 weeks.
Yeah. I'm pumped.
Mm-hmm.
Super, super excited. I love Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah, same.
All right, I have a couple news.
Mm. Go on.
Wow, sorry, my mind just stopped working.
I could see that.
That was crazy. First, the psychological thriller called Apartment 7A was always kind of rumored to be a prequel to the classic Rosemary's Baby, but that's been confirmed. It is a prequel. The film's going to star Julia Garner from Ozark. Love her. And it's said to be about a struggling young dancer who suffers a devastating injury. She finds herself drawn in by dark forces when a peculiar, well-connected older couple takes her into their home at a luxurious apartment building, the Branford. So it's kind of going to be exploring what happened in the apartment before Rosemary moved in, and the trailer has dropped for that, so we will include that in the episode description. And then the second one, the found footage horror anthology series VHS. It originally came out in 2012, and it's launched multiple sequels as well as a few spin-offs, and it's not stopping there. Shudder has announced recently that they'll be releasing the next installment, VHS Beyond, on October 4th of this year.
Sci-fi.
It is.
Yes.
It's going to feature 6 new blood-curdling tapes, placing horror at the forefront of a sci-fi-inspired hellscape. So that sounds right up our alley.
Oh, I'm so into it.
Yeah.
That's been rumored for a while.
It is. I think they've just kind of been pushing those out every once in a while. Yeah. So I think there was a brief moment where they had to move studios and stuff like that, and we didn't know if there was going to be more, but Shudder is continuing it.
Good for
giving
Shudder.
us that anthology.
We'll get at least a month out of us.
There you go. Love that.
Yeah.
But there's also a teaser trailer for that as well, so we'll link it as well.
Can we just... Julia Garner?
Yes.
Is that a Nepo baby?
I don't know. If you're thinking
Garner...
Jennifer Garner, I don't think so.
Niece? Cousin?
Early life.
Control F Jennifer.
No.
Damn. Okay. Well.
No.
Wow.
I think she's a Nepo baby.
Oh, good.
Nope. She is. Not here, though. Her mom is a therapist who had a successful career as an actress and comedian in Israel.
Oh.
And then her
Good for
dad's
her.
a painter and an art teacher.
Okay, well.
That's it. She's not related to Jennifer Garner, though.
Oh, okay. That's what I cared about.
Yeah,
But she is a
sorry.
Nepo baby. Called it.
Ish. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think it's quite the same.
No.
But,
Not quite. All right, well, I've got September 2024 horror movie releases.
hell yeah.
I'll give you all the movies, but I'm only going to give you snippets of the ones you should be excited about.
Oh, and you decided?
I decided this.
Great, okay.
This Friday, September 6th, I know, a few days, we have Red Rooms, which is a serial killer film about creepypasta. I'm paraphrasing. Also,
Okay.
The Front Room,
Mhm.
Don't Turn Out the Lights, and Beetlejuice.
Crazy that you didn't give us a description for The Front Room.
We've already talked about it.
It's a thriller starring Brandy fucking Norwood.
Who?
You don't know who Brandy is?
Oh, God. But what did you say after Brandy? I know who Brandy is.
Brandy Norwood, her full name.
Oh, I didn't know her last name was... I didn't know she had a last name. I just know her as Brandy, like the rest of the population.
Fair.
But we've talked about that. We talked about Brandy's upcoming horror movie. That's it.
That's true. That's true.
Next Friday, September 13th, Friday the 13th, we have Hereafter, which is a Frankenstein adjacent film. It's a reanimation film starring Connie Britton of American Horror Story and Nightmare on Elm Street. I did not know she was in Nightmare on Elm Street. I did not make that connection.
I think she's in the remake.
Oh, gross. That's why. Also on the 13th, the remake, speaking of remakes, of Speak No Evil.
Okay.
I won't give you anything about that because we're going to talk about it in 2 weeks.
That's true.
You can watch the episode. You can also check out on Friday the 13th, Meanwhile on Earth, Midnight Maniac, and Booger.
Booger.
Yeah, we're running out of things to call horror movies. September 17th, you can check out Voice of Shadows.
Oh.
And then here's a real fun one. September 19th, The Babadook is coming back to theaters for its 10th anniversary.
Oh, hell yeah.
I know, I'm really excited about that one.
Mm-hmm.
On the 20th, the next day, The Substance, starring Demi Moore, Dennis Quaid, we talk about him in every episode, and Margaret Qualley, releases. That one's about an actress who doesn't want to age. Very original. And also
I'm
on the
excited
20th,
about that one.
Yeah, I am too. The cast alone. Also on the 20th is Never Let Go and Last Straw.
Ah.
On the 24th, we have Night of the Harvest and Winter Island. And last but not least, on the 27th, you can catch Bagman, Apartment 7A, which we just talked about, Azrael, and that one's got a limited release. And then Abruptio, which came out last year. It's a puppet horror movie starring Jordan Peele.
Incredible.
Mm-hmm. It does not look funny.
Great. Why would puppets be funny?
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch all of them.
You should.
I'm not gonna watch all of them, but I'll watch the ones that are in a theater near me.
Yeah. Which should be most of them.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen trailers for a lot of those.
Mm-hmm.
I will say I'm excited for The Front Room because I love Brandy. She's the best Cinderella. I'm excited for The Substance because I've heard it's like feminist body horror, and who doesn't love that?
Yeah.
I'm excited for Beetlejuice, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And what is it? Never Let Go? That's the one with Halle Berry, right?
Couldn't tell you. That is one of them.
I'm pretty sure that's the one with her. I'm excited for that.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that one too. She has like twins or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We also talked about The Substance a long time ago.
Damn.
Yeah. Because I said
And
it's
look, they're all
described
coming
as a
out now.
feminist body horror, and you went, oh.
Well, now I'm into it.
Now, mind has changed.
Yeah. That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. She's a new woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Well, let us know in the comments which one you're most excited to see.
Ugh.
I'm gonna keep doing engagement farming ironically until it becomes natural.
Yeah.
Okay, we are here to talk about Jacob's Ladder and its remake. Unfortunately, sorry, I shouldn't spoil my feelings about it.
No, I'm not gonna hold you. I wish I had never said we should watch the remake.
Thank you.
That movie's ass.
I appreciate it.
Mm.
I watched it on 1.5 speed because I couldn't do it.
So did I on Daily Motion.
No.
Oh, I watched it on Daily Motion. 1.5
No, I
speed.
couldn't do it. I got like 30 minutes in, and then I was like, we're gonna have to wrap this up pretty quickly.
No, same. Except, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So if it's been a while since you've seen them, or you've never watched the remake, you don't care to. The 1990 version, the overview is Mourning His Dead. Start that one again. Mourning His Dead. I'm having a lot of issues speaking today. I don't know why.
Are you gonna have a migraine?
I
always
hope
get kind
not.
of strokey before I get a migraine.
Oh, no. I don't know. I don't know as though I've really ever had a migraine. I don't get headaches very often.
You would know if you had one.
Yeah, I don't get them very often, so I'm a big fucking bitch when I do get them.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, it feels like I have a migraine, but it's probably just a regular headache.
Yeah.
Anyways, the 1990 version, mourning his dead child, a haunted Vietnam War veteran attempts to uncover his past while suffering from a severe case of dissociation. To do so, he must decipher reality and life from his own dreams, delusions, and perceptions of death. And then the 2019 version changed a few things. So in this version, after his brother returns home from war, Jacob Singer struggles to maintain his sanity. Plagued by hallucinations and flashbacks, Singer rapidly falls apart as the world and the people around him morph and twist into disturbing images. And both of those are from IMDb. Which is weird that it says after his brother returns home from war. He was
in war.
At war. They were both at war.
And his brother died. So his brother didn't come back from war. His brother was dead in the plot of the movie. He dies.
Well, no, but then he comes back. That's the whole plot.
Right. But
so there's that when he comes back.
It's a spoiler for the summary to include that he comes back.
But that happens pretty early on.
Yeah,
and that's not like the twist of the movie. So it's like, you know.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, for cast and crew, the 1990 version was directed by Adrian Lin. It was written by Bruce Joel Rubin, and it stars Tim Robbins and Elizabeth Pena. It has a 7.4 on IMDb, a 72% critics, and an 84% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. It had a budget of $25 million, and it made $26.1 million. So not a huge box office success, but it has garnered a huge cult following since its release, and it's gotten critical acclaim since. The 2019 version was directed by David M. Rosenthal. The screenplay was by Jeff Bueller and Sarah Thorpe. Story by Jake Wade Wall and Jeff Bueller, but based on the original. A lot of writing credits.
Yeah.
Not sure why. It stars Michael Ealy and Jesse Williams. It has a 3.6 on IMDb. A 4% critic score and 34% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. And I could not find one single thing about its budget or how much it made, which tells me they did not want me to know that information.
Yeah.
Couldn't have been good. Never a good sign when they're trying to scrub any evidence of financials from a movie.
Yeah. Brutal.
Yeah. I kind of hoped that it would be like one of those like remakes that everybody hates, and then I watch it and I'm like, okay, that wasn't that bad. You guys are being dramatic. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They weren't.
No.
They weren't being dramatic.
Yeah. The only thing I like about that movie, Jesse Williams.
I was gonna say the performance. Like I think that like Michael Ealy and Jesse Williams, I hope I'm saying that right, by the way. Is it Ealy or Ailey?
Not sure.
I don't know. I thought it was Ealy. But anyways, they both did a fantastic job.
Mm-hmm.
Great performances. Like they did everything they could do.
Yeah.
And they still couldn't save it.
Yeah. I also didn't mind the concept of one brother's married to the wife and the other brother thinks he's married. Like, I liked that kind of concept. I think that would have
Okay.
worked really well in the original.
Oh, okay.
That would have been fun in the original, but
See, I think that kind of takes away, like, I think what's so compelling about the original is that you're watching this guy, like, try to figure out what the fuck is going on in his
Yeah.
own life.
yeah.
And so it's like you care about him, and like Tim Robbins does an incredible job in the original. He's really fantastic. Can you be an Oscar winner and still underrated? Because if you can be, it's Tim Robbins. But
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, so I feel like that kind of took it away because for half the movie, he's just like concerned about his brother. And so you're not really like that into it. And his brother only exists to be like something he can bounce off of. Like there's
Yeah.
not really anything to his brother's character. But I didn't hate all the changes that they made. Like I thought obviously like updating the war aspect from Vietnam to Afghanistan made a lot of sense. I didn't mind that it was focusing more on like a drug administered after the war to help with PTSD rather than before the war. Like that was fine. I feel like that could have worked. It didn't, but it could have in a perfect world.
Could have, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But I guess the brother thing, like they couldn't do the same twist in the original.
Yeah.
They had to do something different. Because even if you watch Jacob's Ladder now, I feel like a lot of people would be like, oh, okay, we've seen that twist before. But like, this was 1990. Like, this was pre-Sixth Sense. Like, it
Yes.
was not a thing back then.
Yeah. The remake, they kept everything great about the original, but made it ass. And then they took everything out that, I don't know. They took out everything great and added garbage. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
No.
they kept a lot of good things. Everything that they kept
Okay.
that was good from the original, they made terrible.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. I'm following now.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. They kind of just took out all of the style, all of the like heart, all of the meaning from the first one. I don't even think they watched the original. I think they read the Wikipedia synopsis and thought, yeah, I get it. And then went for
Yes.
it.
Yes. Yeah, they just tried too hard. They tried too hard to modernize it. The original did not need a remake.
It didn't. And I'm not even against remakes necessarily, but this one really didn't need it. And also, yeah, they just like, they made it into that stereotypical, this wasn't done by Blumhouse, but like Blumhouse movie where it's just like,
Yeah.
bad jump scares, bad CGI, bad script, like throw everything in there, call it a day. Hopefully we'd make some money off of it. And it didn't work.
Yeah, they tried to capitalize on this cult following that was growing.
Yeah.
And did a terrible job.
They
I could see what they were going for. I mean, they recreated a lot of scenes almost shot for shot. Like the subway scene and the bus being on the bus with the homeless person, and
yeah.
I could see what they were going for, but we don't need you to recreate those scenes because we already have them.
Yeah. Yeah. I found out after I finished it that Jeff Bueller, who helped screenwrite the remake, also did screenplays for two other remakes that came out around the same time. The Grudge 2020 and Pet Sematary 2019, both of which people also fucking hated.
Oh my god.
So maybe, Jeff, respectfully, you should stop writing remakes.
Yeah.
Because it's not working.
Write your own movies, Jeff.
Fucking Jeff, dude. My name's Jeff. Anyways.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't have a lot to talk about with the remake.
I think we've talked enough about the remake.
Yeah, it was ass.
It wasn't good.
It was in post-production for 2 years and it had been finished for a year before anybody even got to see it.
Yeah.
I think they knew this movie sucks. What are we gonna do?
Yeah.
Had
I
they
don't even
just
think
waited 6 more months and released it during COVID, people had nothing better to do but to watch terrible movies.
I don't think they knew.
Yeah. I mean,
If only they'd known.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it wasn't even. I think it was like limited theatrical. It wasn't even like wide released. I don't think.
It's giving straight to DVD.
It's giving. I was gonna say Shudder original, but that's not even nice because Shudder's done better movies than this.
Mm-hmm.
It's giving like the worst of sci-fi originals. You know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Hallmark horror.
yeah. This is horror Hallmark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, there weren't even a lot of fun facts about it. Like, nobody wants to talk about this movie. I think everybody just wants to pretend that this movie never happened, myself included.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't blame them.
me neither.
There's like one interesting fact, not even interesting fact. It's such a fucking reach. There's one fact on the IMDb trivia.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse Williams and Joseph Sikora, who plays the tiniest character in the movie. Like, it has 2 lines, starred together on an episode of a 2014 show called Power.
Hell yeah.
That's the most interesting fun fact about this movie.
Yeah.
The remake, to be clear.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Yeah, it
we
was
can
not
pretend
good.
like that never happened.
Great.
And we didn't have to watch it on 2x speed.
Today we're talking about only the 1990 version
Yeah.
of Jacob's Ladder. If anything, though, it makes you appreciate the original a bit more, you know?
Totally.
Even if you watch the original and you're like, that wasn't for me, I think you watch the remake and you're like, never mind. The original was for me.
Yes, absolutely. It definitely made me want to watch it again.
Mhm.
To like palate cleanse.
Yeah.
I need to do that. It's on my list of things to do.
There you go. Yeah. Favorite fun fact about the original. We're just gonna talk about the original from now on.
You're gonna jump into your favorite fun fact?
Yeah. Right now.
Okay.
You already know I'm gonna say it.
Yeah, I do.
All the SFX were filmed live, no post production.
So fun. That just means everything's practical.
I know,
Yeah.
and that's my favorite thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
I just yum, 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 yum. I love practical effects so much.
It really worked in this one too.
It did, yeah. I feel like it held up pretty well.
Yeah. Are you gonna tell them how they did the head shaking thing?
Oh, if you want me to, yeah.
Sure.
It's just about like FPS. I don't know if people care about that, but the head shaking effect they did. Adrian Lin just filmed the actor waving his head around, and then like keeping his shoulders and the rest of his body completely still, just his head, at 4 FPS. And then when they played it back at 24 FPS, it was like way faster. And that's how they did it.
Cute.
You could do that yourself on a laptop nowadays.
Yeah. It was big technology back then. 30 years ago? 35 years ago?
Don't say things like that. The 90s was exactly 20 years ago, and it always will be.
I went on a real big rabbit hole. I could probably talk for 20 minutes about the art that influenced this movie.
Yeah.
Shall I?
Maybe not. Maybe rein it in a little bit, but you can talk about it.
Okay. Well, you let me talk about birds as long as I wanted. I'm not allowed to talk about art?
I would have cut you off if it had you gone on longer.
Okay. Well, I just want to get into the lore of some of the artistic influences for the film.
Yeah.
So we have 2 painters who are known for kind of beautifying the macabre and normalizing what was kind of considered not normal back then.
Yeah.
And then, that's photographers, and then painters who portrayed kind of like a mixture of heavenly and monstrous themes. So, and this is in no way an exhaustive list, but I highlighted the ones I thought were the most interesting. Joel Peter Witkin is a photographer who's known for his portrayals of death, corpses, and dismemberment. He's praised for celebrating bodies with a range of physical features in unique and artistic manners. He actually enlisted in the army during the Vietnam War, much like Jacob in the original. And again, this is all about the original, not the remake, with the intention of capturing wartime photography. And he was influenced. He wanted to capture death and wartime because as a young child, a car accident happened outside of his home and he witnessed the decapitation of another young child. So that was his sort of influence of wanting to capture wartime photography.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's Joel Peter Witkin. The other photographer is Diane Arbus. She did not have quite as terrible of an influence, but she's another photographer whose work kind of helped normalize, I say in quotes, marginalized people. So transgender people, people with dwarfism. She did a lot of photography of those marginalized groups. Then we have William Blake, who a lot of horror fans should know. His painting, The Great Red Dragon and the Woman Clothed in Sun, or his poem, Auguries of Innocent, which both play a significant role in Red Dragon. That's how most people should know him. Red Dragon obviously introduced Hannibal Lecter. Highly recommend looking up that painting, The Great Red Dragon and the Woman Clothed in Sun. It's beautiful. Then H.R. Giger was another inspiration. He is the man who inspired the alien from Alien.
Amazing.
He created Alien.
Sex.
You can absolutely see that in the in the tentacles and stuff that were happening in the film. And then one more, we've got Francis Bacon, whose style very clearly also influenced the unsettling and iconic head shaking movement in the film. Here, I'll show you.
Oh.
This is obviously Giger.
Yeah.
This is Giger from Alien.
Nice.
This is the Red Dragon and the Woman Clothed in Sun. This scene is in the movie.
Yeah.
This painting, or this picture by Witkin.
Yep.
And it's also in Silent Hill.
That's all you're going to say about Silent Hill?
No, I figured we would talk about that more.
Oh, I mean, it seemed like a great segue. But
it is a great segue. Let's talk more about it.
I mean, there's not much to say. It's just this movie served as a huge inspiration to the early games in the Silent Hill video game franchise. It's very much the style and the storyline was what they wanted.
Yeah.
I feel like you can see that.
Totally.
Yeah.
The whole nurse thing, walking through the hallway with bodies and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
No eyes.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Me too. Also, though, you said enlisted like Jacob did, which I mean, yes, I guess, but there's a moment when in the movie where he unfolds his army discharge certificate, and it shows the service number, and the service number actually correlates with a draftee service number. So I think it's implying he was drafted, but also I don't know if that's what they were actually implying, because they only used it because the prop master, Thomas K. Wright, that was his service number. He just used it because it was his. So,
well, remember the lawyer?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't he in Seinfeld or something? He's in some.
There was no one else who could do that job but George Costanza. Okay.
Yeah, what is he in? He's in
Seinfeld.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in a lot, but yeah, Seinfeld.
Yeah, but Seinfeld's where everybody knows from. Yeah. He said they never were in the war.
Yeah, I think that is just part of his delusions, though. That there's this huge conspiracy, right?
Right. Okay.
Yeah, because I don't think anything really, in terms of interpreting it, right? I don't actually see this movie as a he was dead the whole time type of movie. I see this as almost every time we get clips from him back in the war, flashbacks, I think of that as just where he's actually at in real time. Yeah. And everything that's happening in between is him basically in purgatory.
Right.
Right. So he's halfway up the ladder and it's kind of which way is he gonna go, right? Mm-hmm. So I consider it more of like a yes, he dies in the end, but he wasn't dead the whole time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
absolutely how I read into it too.
Okay, great. But yeah, so I don't necessarily see that as like real.
Mhm.
It's just his mind and like the demons and the angels kind of like influencing him one way or the other.
Fair. Okay.
So I do think he was enlisted because I think he dies in the end. Like that's him enlisted.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, yeah. Excellent point. Excellent point.
Yeah.
But something to read into a little more if you don't, like us, think. It's a very linear story.
I think so. I get why it feels confusing.
Does it?
To some people, yeah. I
Okay.
think because it is very like hard cuts to other lives and back to the war and what's going on, and then he's dead at the end and you're like, wait, what? So I could see how people could kind of be like, that's confusing and maybe need another watch through.
Yeah. Well, at
But
the end, the doctors say he was fighting so hard.
yeah,
Like that to me kind of wrapped it up with a bow. Like, okay, he was literally just trying not to die.
yeah,
Or deciding whether or not he wanted to die.
right, yeah. Yeah, I think he was just getting pulled in two different directions, and then Macaulay Culkin took him home.
Yeah. Aw, Macaulay.
Yeah, that's
first time-
the wildest part is when it just cuts to him looking at a picture of Macaulay Culkin and crying,
Right?
and you're like, whoa, wait, what?
I was just going to say, the first time you see Macaulay Culkin, it's in a photo, and you're like, what the fuck? He's not in this.
Why is he sobbing over Macaulay Culkin?
Mm-hmm. I guess there's some controversy there with Macaulay's dad saying that, oh, he didn't want to be credited because it doesn't fit Macaulay's image.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, was this the same year as Home Alone?
It came out in the 90s.
Home Alone. 1990, yeah. So same year. So I could see like if both of these movies, or like if he knew that this movie was coming out that winter, you'd probably not want him to be associated with this movie because then
fair.
people are gonna, yeah. So I get it, but what are you gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
Now he's so well known that you can't watch the movie without knowing that it's him. So it doesn't matter if he's credited.
It worked out in the end.
Yeah.
The opening scene.
Mhm.
First of all, there were some racial slurs in that scene that I have not heard in a very long time. Yikes.
Well, people don't use them anymore, which is good.
Yeah.
So
which is honestly...
They used them when the Vietnam War was happening.
Yeah. Which is promising. Maybe some of the slurs we have now will also go away. That would be real nice.
One can hope.
Yeah. But that whole scene was improvised to make it feel authentic. Like the masturbating, chicken choking scene.
Yeah. I don't know if all of it was, but most of it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to say that for clarity because I don't want to like put the slurs on the actors.
Oh, that's, yeah. Okay, true. True. We don't know.
I'm sure that they did include, because that was how Vietnam soldiers talked, right?
Yes.
Like that was just kind of ingrained in their vocabulary at that point in time.
Yeah. Which, another fun fact is that all of those actors, anyone that was in the like wartime scenes, did a 5-day boot camp.
No, thank you.
I'd do it.
5 days?
I would join the military if I didn't have a mental illness.
People who are mentally ill.
But if you've been previously diagnosed as mentally ill, you're not allowed.
You have to lie to the doctors first, and then you can go.
Yeah.
Or just be recruited when you're 18 and you haven't gone to the doctor yet.
Even at 18, it was too late for me.
Oh, I'm still lying to the doctor.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow, what a different world we would live in today had you been drafted to the military. Yeah, no, I even went and I did the test.
Women couldn't even be drafted.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Whatever.
Well, not back then. I think by the time we were 18, women could join the military, but you couldn't be drafted.
I don't think we can be drafted still.
I don't think so either. I think they're trying to work on that, right? Wasn't that like a whole thing people were talking about, that women should be drafted?
What side wants women to be drafted? Women or not women?
I don't think women want to be drafted, but
I don't
it's
think
the whole
not
like,
women want women to be drafted
if
either.
we're equal, then you have to be drafted. You know, it's like that argument. Yeah.
God.
Which, jokes on them, I don't think anybody should be drafted. So
Yeah. Iceland
I
doesn't
also
even
don't
have a
think
military and they're doing
18-year-olds
great.
should join the military. What?
I said Iceland doesn't even have a military and they're doing great.
Well, yeah, but they also aren't they like no, that's what is that? Sweden is always neutral.
Switzerland.
Switzerland, thank you.
I know that from Twilight. I'm
Which I do
Switzerland,
think at some
okay?
points, like, you have to take a side sometimes.
Team Edward.
No, not there. Edward and Jacob were both terrible. Team therapist for Bella.
Jacob was worse.
Well, yeah, because he imprinted on a fucking baby, Katie.
Yeah.
What is wrong with Stephanie Myers?
So much.
A lot.
She grew up in Arizona. That's thing one.
That'll do it to you.
That'll do it. Not to say that I relate to her at all.
Thank
having
you.
grown up in Arizona.
Yeah, you should clarify. Anyways.
Yeah, all that to say, I would join the military. It's the same as my fascination with being in jail. I mean, they're telling you what to do, when to do it. You're up and around. You're healthy. You're getting paid to move around and be fit. It's better than jail, in fact, because you're being paid.
You'd be so anxious and stressed out all the time because it's literally constantly your boss yelling at you and never giving you praise. And that's exactly what you want.
That's okay. But yeah, I am a little slut for praise from a boss. But I know if I'm in the military, I'm not going to get that. So it's like, you know, whatever. And then when I do, it's even fucking sweeter.
Good for you. I will not be joining you.
Also, can I just say, I was much closer guess this movie when I guessed American Mary.
You were, yeah.
Thank you.
I thought you were going to say you were close when you were guessing this movie. I was like, no.
No, not even. No, when I was guessing American Mary.
Plot was closer to this than anything else you've said. So
yeah, not bad.
War movies.
Mm-hmm.
Which speaking of, I was gonna like badly segue into another fun fact.
Okay, please do.
What were you gonna do?
I don't know. You really threw me off.
So sorry.
It's okay.
I'm in a mood today. Anyways, Tim Robbins said in an interview about the movie, I think it was in 2015, that he thinks one of the reasons it didn't do well at the box office was because of the like war scenes in Vietnam, and because like the national mood in 1990 was all about the Gulf War. So like people were not wanting anti-war messaging, I think, at that point, because we were in one. So
yeah.
Not me. I always want anti-war movies.
Yeah. And we're always in a different war.
Yeah, we love war. America loves war.
I mean, I guess we're not really in a war, but like the world is in a war. Not a world war.
Always. No, we're not.
Please.
Yet.
Yeah. Knock on wood.
We're always in war.
One just without context, this sentence makes no sense. And I had to really think about it, but I wrote, Great. Jacob had a Wilson, house air about him.
Wait, that makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, now, Jacob had a Wilson from house air about him.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, he just totally felt like Wilson to me.
Okay. I feel like that's fair because I feel like, yeah, they have similar vibes. I would agree with that.
It's just a vibe thing. I don't know that they look alike. Really, they just they kind of like, and then they kind of like talk out of the side of their mouth the same way.
Okay.
They just it's just a vibe.
Yeah. We should put Robert Sean Leonard and Tim Robbins next to each other and just see if it's like a vibe. Not right now, just like in your own time. Go ahead and Google them.
Oh, okay. I was gonna do it right now.
Because you're right. I don't think that they necessarily look alike, but it's the vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also,
yes.
Speaking of the cast, Elizabeth Pena.
Mm-hmm.
She played the woman I wanted to be when I grew up.
In this movie?
Nope.
Great. I was like, she's a demon in this movie.
No. She's terrible. A terrible person in this movie. Great acting, but terrible.
Yeah. Because she played.
The Sciencey woman in Free Willy 2.
I would have never gotten there.
Yeah, you would have.
I
You would
was
have gotten there eventually.
so far up on her IMDb.
Yeah, there's
Great.
in that movie, she does this one line where she goes, "Go for it," and I say that all the time, just like her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always wanted to be a whale sciencey woman, just like Elizabeth Pena in Free Willy 2.
What's stopping you?
I'm in the middle of Arizona.
Okay.
I did it though. I did get to be a whale sciencey woman for like 5 years
That's true, you did.
on the boats.
Yeah.
It was great. I lived that life. It's past life now.
Yeah. Well, for that role, Adrienne Lynn auditioned about 300 women, including Jennifer Lopez, Andy McDowell, Madonna, Demi Moore, and Julia Roberts. But it went to Elizabeth Pena, who was the first person to audition for the role.
Crazy.
So why'd they keep going?
Yeah, right? How much time did you waste? 300
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
I love her.
Yeah, she was great.
Mm-hmm. The role of Jacob was also, well, first of all, Adrienne Lynn was going to direct the Bonfire Vanities,
Mm-hmm.
which I've never heard of, but turned it down to direct Jacob's Ladder, and he was planning on casting Tom Hanks in Jacob's Ladder. But Tom Hanks turned down Jacob's Ladder so that he could star in Bonfire Vanities.
Yep.
Kind of a...
Just
what's it
missed
called?
each other.
Yeah, they just missed each other.
Serendipitous.
Yeah. But anyway, a bunch of other pretty notable actors were interested in the role of Jacob. Richard Gere, Dustin Hoffman, Al Pacino, and Mickey Rourke actually turned it down. Can you imagine Mickey Rourke? Ugh,
No.
me neither. No thanks. Sorry, Mickey.
Sorry, Mickey.
I like Tim Robbins better.
Not on our watch.
Mhm.
I really can't imagine this with anybody but Tim Robbins. He did such a great job.
Yeah. Except
fan.
maybe Robert John Leonard.
Exactly. For all the chiropractor scenes, which there's weirdly a lot.
Yeah.
Finally, a movie for chiropractors. Am I right, ladies? But Adrienne Lynn ensured that there was a real chiropractor on set during all of the scenes. And according to him, like, chiropractors have come up and thanked him for their portrayal in this movie
Wow.
multiple times since it released, which I think is really funny.
What are your thoughts on chiropractorism?
Oh, are we getting into that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd like to know your thoughts.
Okay, well, I'm biased. I have 4 chiropractors in my family.
Oh, that's
so
right. That's right.
I have always grown up going to a chiropractor. Well, not always. I don't always go, but like I've gone since I was a child. And
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a little bit interesting how people have like pinpointed that as like, well, accidents can happen. And it's like, yeah, but like you don't say that surgeons aren't legitimate doctors just because like they mess up a surgery. So what are your thoughts? Pro or anti chiropractor?
I'm never going to a chiropractor because I can't stand the sound.
Oh, yeah, of the crunching.
Yeah.
That's
Popping.
fair. That's not really like a stance, though. That's like a person.
No. Yeah, no. I mean, I did go to the chiropractor once, and they adjusted me while I had a ruptured disc. So that was terrible.
Okay.
But I do think it's weird that people are like clinging to this idea that it's some sort of pseudoscience or like a lesser than practice when I mean they go through the same education as any doctor does, and I don't know.
You do have to go to medical school. I can attest to that. My family has gone to medical school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, hot topic.
I don't know. Tell us what you think of chiropractors
in the comments below.
Yeah. I know I'm biased because, like, you know, I have chiropractors who can tell me all about it. What else?
The final like screen of the movie
Mm-hmm.
mentions the testing of a drug that they call BZ,
Yeah.
which is a NATO code for a hallucinogen, which was rumored to have been administered to United States troops during the Vietnam War to increase their combat abilities, which is exactly the
What's kind of shown
inspiration
in
of
the
the film.
movie. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Scary.
That MK Ultra type shit.
What?
You don't know about MK Ultra?
No.
Okay. Uh, I can't believe I'm the one who has to tell you about this. It was a project that the CIA did, but it was basically like illegal human experiments. And I'm pretty sure like the Unabomber's from it or something. Like, it's like crazy.
The Unabomber is one of the people that was experimented on?
I think so.
What
I could
the
be
fuck?
making that part up.
This sounds fake.
No. Oh, okay. He's an alleged member. Ted Kaczynski, an American domestic terrorist known as the Unabomber, was said to be a subject of a voluntary psychological study alleged by some sources to have been part of MK Ultra.
It sounds vaguely
Yeah.
familiar, but
Yeah, they've talked about it in films and stuff like that. Yeah, no, it's
Interesting.
real. It's like a real thing. I didn't make it up.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not allowed to
Yeah.
experiment on animals, so what else are we gonna do? I'm
You
joking.
heard it here first. Katie, pro
joking.
MK Ultra. No, but I like the fun fact that basically said that the reason that Jacob's not impacted by the drug, because everybody's like going crazy and killing each other, and he's just like scared,
Mhm.
is because he's having frequent bowel movements. That's how the movie starts. He's taking a shit.
Oh,
And apparently the latter was administered through food. So because he was passing it all and the other people weren't, they were impacted and he wasn't.
my God. Take your probiotics, folks.
Eat that fiber.
Regular poop time.
Time to poop. So you don't kill your friends.
Mhm. Yeah. Wow. I'm going to think about that every time I poop now. You know what? This is so good for me and Cassidy.
Are you going to kill me?
No, because I'm going to poop.
Oh, because you pooped.
I'm pooping.
The next time you're constipated, I'm just like locking my doors.
The bitch hasn't pooped.
She's coming for me.
Oh.
Oh. Stupid.
Oh, fuck. Hmm.
All right. Do you have any other fun facts?
No. I think we should rate it.
No. End of fun fact section.
Do you?
We're done. I have a lot more, but they're not
Really?
that important.
Yeah, okay. I highlight all the important ones.
Yeah. All right, let's rate it.
All right. Well, should we rate the new one first?
Up to you. Remake first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ones across the board. It's, well, a 1.5 sexy, but that doesn't influence anything else.
You gave it ones.
Ones across the board. I
Okay.
hated it.
Yeah.
I didn't understand it. It would, like, why did they
Yeah.
make it?
I don't know.
I almost wish that it was a standalone movie. I might have given it higher. You know what I mean? Like, if it was just a movie by itself.
It wouldn't be the worst movie ever if it wasn't a remake of Jacob's Ladder.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not the worst movie ever, but it's really bad.
it's really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, ones across the board. Did you give it anything different than ones across the board?
I did, yeah.
Oh, okay. Please.
I gave it a 4 for scary. And that, no, I'm kidding. Can you fucking imagine? A 1 for scary and a 1 for fucked up.
Yeah.
And then a 1.5 for sexy.
Same.
Jesse Williams. And then a 1.5 overall because I have seen a worse movie than this.
Oh. Well,
So I
more than
can't-
one movie can be a 1.
I agree, but like I know what a 1 looks like.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And I did give it the 0.5 mainly because the acting itself like wasn't the worst thing ever. Of the two
Okay.
main guys. Like they did well.
Yeah.
So I won't shit on it too hard.
That's fair.
But
They-
a
they
1.5
were good.
is still maybe my lowest rating. So.
Yeah. I could not.
I think
I
I'd
couldn't
rather
watch
watch Night Swim.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah, we hate Night Swim, and I'd watch that before I watch this again. So.
What did we give Night Swim? A 2 or a 1.5? I don't think we gave it a 1.
I don't think I've done a 1.5 yet.
Really?
I think my lowest scores have always been 2. I would take that back and give Night Swim a 1.5, but
In hindsight.
in
movie
hindsight,
sucked.
it was really bad. But I would still rank it above this, even though they're both 1.5s.
Yeah.
Because at least it was a little bit original. All right, great.
Okay. Now
Done.
for real.
For
How-
real rating.
Yeah. How scary did you think Jacob's Ladder 1990 was?
I gave it a 1.
Okay.
I can understand why people might think it's a little creepy, but like, it's just kind of fun.
Yeah.
Would you as well?
No, I gave it a 2.
Oh, okay. Which
Yeah.
scenes spooked you?
No, it's just like the tone.
Oh, okay, yeah, like the vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
even
yeah.
think any of the jump scares got me. I don't think.
Yeah,
It was just like a vibe, and
fair.
it's reminiscent of Silent Hill, which scared the absolute fuck out of me.
Yeah.
So gotta be at least 2.
That's valid.
Mhm.
How sexy did you think it was?
2.5.
Wow. Okay.
All my fantasies of Elizabeth Pena
Yeah.
and tentacles.
Yeah.
I mean,
Come on.
Come on.
Yep.
What'd you give it?
I give it a 2.
Okay.
Because, yeah, the leads.
Yeah.
And the tentacles. I got it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
How fucked up did you think it was?
A 1.
Oh, okay.
But I'm starting to feel like that's maybe not right.
Well, you remember the scene with the leg
Yeah, that was a little
at the
fucked up.
beginning?
Yeah. I'll give it a 1.5.
Okay.
Yeah, that feels better.
Okay.
What about you?
I gave it a 2.5.
Okay, yeah.
Just like the whole military testing on people thing is
Yeah.
you don't see that very often, I guess, except in real life, apparently. And
That was the CIA.
well, tomato,
The other
tomato,
was
it's a
alleged.
government entity.
Yeah.
Yeah. And NATO. Well, I guess it wasn't NATO that was doing it, but
Yeah, that's
anyway.
the code for it.
Yeah, between that and a couple of the scenes, needle through the forehead, which, funny story, one time, we were all around the dinner table, and I don't remember why, but my mom was, like, prepping us a wrench or something.
Mm-hmm.
She's just, like, fucking around, playing with it and doing that. And the needle came off of the syringe and went in my dad's forehead, right there. Right in the same spot. It didn't, like, go in or anything. It just kind of, like, stuck there. It was really fun. It, like, didn't hurt him. It was just kind of...
Oh my god. I hate that.
I wish I had it on video. It was so fucking funny.
Yeah, that would have been a good moment.
Yeah, but no, I did not like that scene at all. The needle
That's
through the
fair.
forehead. The
Okay.
brain.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, overall, Jacob's Ladder.
I gave it a 4. I really liked it. I really want to watch it again and appreciate it a little bit more now that I've seen the remake too.
Mm-hmm.
Or finished the remake sloggingly. I had to slog my way through it.
You had
onto
to
XP.
slog. Same. I don't want to watch that again.
But no, I think this is a really approachable horror movie.
Okay.
I think you could recommend this to anyone. Kind of like Sixth Sense, where it's, it's a little gory, but not like otherworldly gory that makes people uncomfortable. It's, pretty attainable goriness, I guess.
Yeah.
And it was listed on several like top 400 movies you should watch before you die, top 1,000 movies before you like. I definitely agree with that. It's
Got booted.
I know, not off of all the lists, but one of them.
No. Yeah.
I do think it's approachable and everybody could watch it, and that's what we're here for. We're here to make a horror fan out of me. That's already happened. That ship has sailed. But I think this is a good gateway horror movie for sure.
Fair. This could be like a gateway to like your first kind of like a little bit surrealist horror.
Yeah.
You know?
Like watch Sixth Sense, then watch this.
See, I would say watch this before Sixth Sense.
You think?
Yeah.
This has a little bit more like tentacle.
I don't think anybody hasn't seen Sixth Sense.
Yeah, okay, true.
No, I just because like plot devices used. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
Like Sixth Sense is like the end all be it all of like twist endings. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Is that an M. Night movie? Yeah.
It's the M. Night movie.
Yeah. And this
That
very
is
well
Signs, baby.
could have been.
An M. Night movie? No.
I think so.
No. Just
I
because
think
it has
it
a
could.
twist, no. The rest of the style of the movie, absolutely not.
Well, I mean, that's what I mean, is the twist. That's what I mean. It's like an M.
Yeah, but
Night
the twist doesn't make the movie.
Well,
Like, I would never watch this movie and be like, oh, this feels like an M. Night Shyamalan movie. It does not.
oh, I kind of got that vibe.
Oh, no, sorry.
That's all right. I've only seen like 3 of his movies, so.
Great.
What did you give it?
Oh, okay.
I thought I asked that already.
You did.
Oh.
I give it a 3.5.
Okay.
Pretty close. Yeah. I think this movie's great, and I would also include it in a list of like horror movies that everybody should see.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fun. I think it's way fucking better than the remake. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, not a
but
high bar.
Tim Robbins is amazing. The special effects I feel like hold up. Like they still look good for being practical in the 90s.
Yeah.
I do like that it's a little bit surrealist and like what the fuck is happening type of thing. I think the only reason it's not a little bit higher is because I guess like the whole like purgatory angels and demons thing just isn't a storyline that like super appeals to me very much. So I feel like I was much more interested in like the being drugged storyline and like getting to the bottom of it and stuff like that, and that's kind of like abandoned a little bit. As soon as George Costanza says no, like that's not really a thing anymore. It's kind of more focused on his journey through purgatory.
Yeah.
So I think that's my only thing, that it's not a little bit higher because of that. But it's still a solid fucking movie. I love this movie. I think everybody should watch it. So great film. Great performance by Tim Robbins. Big fan.
Mm-hmm. Who is a
I'm gonna-
comedian, by the way?
Just not the one you were thinking
Yeah.
of.
Yeah, but you called me crazy, like, oh, he.
Because I knew who you were thinking of. I knew that you were thinking of Tim Robbins.
Yeah,
like,
I was.
No, he's not. But also, he's not like has he ever done like comedy shows? He's been in comedy movies.
Well, I don't know if he's
Robbins.
ever done like stand up.
Yeah, he's not like a comedian. He's just a comedic actor, I guess is how I would.
Okay.
Would you survive?
I mean, no,
Okay.
I don't think so, because
Yeah,
the whole movie is about you dying. It's the
Okay.
process of dying.
got it.
So if I lived, there wouldn't have been a movie.
Okay.
Or I guess maybe I could have come out of it and been like, I went down the stairs.
I think that's hell.
I stayed at the middle of the stairs.
I think that's purgatory.
Fuck. So you just,
There is a way to live this movie. There's a way to survive.
don't join the military.
Yeah, but you already said you would.
I would.
Bye.
Yeah, I'm dead. But I'm also a woman in the Vietnam War era.
Yeah, if we're
They
going
wouldn't
off the
let me
Vietnam
in the
one,
military.
you wouldn't be allowed, so you couldn't even.
So I did live.
You live.
Okay, good. I
I'll
lived.
count it. Yeah, you weren't allowed to. You weren't allowed to enlist,
Good. Okay.
and I wouldn't have. So I live.
And you live too? Wow.
As respectfully as possible. No, I would never enlist in the military. That
Yeah.
is not for me at all. No.
Well, good. We live.
Look at us
I
go.
thought I was really dead, but you're right.
Yeah, I think like you put yourself in the situation. The Vietnam War is happening. Do you enlist? And we can't. All right. Well, cool.
What's next
We
week?
did it. Next week is actually a mini series
Oh,
that
yeah.
you've already seen and I've
I
already
saw it.
started. So we're not going to predict it because we're
Oh,
already
damn.
we're in the thick of it. But
Into the thick of it.
yes, we're doing another Mike Flanagan mini series.
The last one. Sorry. I'm really excited.
The last one! Yes, his newest one. The Fall of the House of Usher.
Hooray!
We love the Flaniverse.
Yeah.
Flaniverse? Yeah. Yeah.
I love the
I'm excited
Flaniverse.
to finish it. I'm enjoying it so far, so. Well, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm coy about it. I don't know what I think yet.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to know.
What episode are you on?
3, I think.
Who's the like? Is it like following somebody or?
Yes. Oh, I started it like halfway through an episode, or I stopped it halfway through an episode.
Oh, okay.
I think it was Camille.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna watch it again.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna binge the rest of it this weekend while I clean. But
Just to decide whether I like it or not.
yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. Last of the Flaniverse.
Not the last for us, maybe, because we haven't done other ones of this, but the newest of the Flaniverse.
No, it's the last one. We've seen all of them now.
No.
There's only 3.
No.
How many are there? How many are there?
Technically 5.
Oh shit!
There's Haunting of Hill House, Midnight Mass, which we've already seen.
Bly Manor, which I haven't
Fall of the
seen.
House of Usher, Bly Manor.
I forgot about
which
Bly Manor.
You know that.
Yeah.
You are still claiming it's the last
totally
one.
forgot all about Bly Manor. Don't write this
Bly
down.
Manor, and then I think technically Midnight Club is now a miniseries because it didn't get renewed for a second season, so we could watch that if we wanted to.
Oh, I thought this was our last one.
No, you just decided that in your own head.
Yeah, I did. I forgot all about Bly Manor.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the fuck Midnight Club is.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I guess.
Well, he lost his contract, or he didn't renegotiate his contract with Netflix, so now he's on Amazon.
Yeah, so that's why Midnight Club, I think,
only had the 1 season.
Yeah, because he had just like signed on with Amazon instead, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, shit. I interrupted you, excited about it being the last one for nothing.
I thought you meant like the last one he did.
No.
Which I was like, yeah, like it's the most recent one. Like it's.
I thought we were done watching them. I totally forgot about Bly Manor.
Oh no, I mean like we can be. We don't have to keep watching them.
Okay.
Okay.
I can't tell you how many people I've told that I've watched all of the Flaniverse now. I finished watching the Flaniverse.
You haven't even watched all of his movies though. Which some
What
of them
movies?
like.
There's movies.
Yeah.
I thought it was 3 shows and that's it.
No, he's done movies. I mean, technically, like, I think there's not references to the other ones in all of them, but like we talked about one of them, Hush, the movie where she's writing Midnight Mass. Like she's an author in the movie writing Midnight Mass. We talked about that during Midnight Mass. But yeah, he's done Absentia, he's done Oculus, he's done Hush, he's done Before I Wake, he's done Ouija Origin of Evil, he's done Gerald's Game and Dr. Sleep. Gerald's Game and Dr. Sleep are both
Dr. Sleep's a sequel.
King.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both King adaptations. So
but
Dr.
that's not
Sleep
part of
is
the
sequel
Flaniverse.
to... No, that's why I said only one of the movies is, I think,
Hush.
referencing Hush. Yeah.
Got it.
But I guess I don't know if like it's all part of the Flaniverse or not. You know what I mean? Where does the Flaniverse end and where does it begin?
Well, oh God. Tune in next week to find out.
Tune in next week for a Flaniverse deep dive.
Honestly, we could use it.
We could use it.
I'll make
that's
a PowerPoint.
content, baby. Perfect. All right, cool. Well, thank you for listening. This was fun. I'm so happy I got to watch the remake so that I never have to watch it again.
Yep.
And yeah, let us know in the comments everything about you. Name, phone number, address, social security number, thoughts about chiropractors.
Oh yeah. That's the least important though.
And everything you know about the Flaniverse.
Yeah, that would be helpful for my PowerPoint.
That would be helpful.
All right, we'll see you next week.
We'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.